Hello everybody, I am Phalix1, and today I want to talk about trees as well as adding decorations to your farm and kind of planning things out. I spent a little bit of time on this farm, getting stuff ready before my vacation next week, and had a lot of fun. It was a bit tedious, and I know it's not the most efficient thing in the world, but I wanted to have a farm that was just full of trees, and it's working out. But as you can see, kind of just did everything in a line. I'd recommend if you're going to do your sets of trees in order to make it a little more efficient for setting things up during your seasons, making sure that you put your trees together. Like in this section for the spring, the cherry on the outsides with the apricot in the middle. And here we have, actually just started, these are peaches? Yeah. You got peach trees up here and you got oranges in the middle. Works out well. Just got to make sure that you can be able to go through and collect everything all at once. And as you see, I mainly have the preserves jars instead of wine. If you wanted to do wine, you would just need a lot of crafting stations. As you can see, since I have 30 of each of these trees up, and I'll eventually have 40 of these up and then 50 of each of the other trees because I'll be extending over to this side of the farm. But I didn't want to do wine because wine takes approximately 7 days and the preserves only take about 2. So if I wanted to do all wine, I would need to have about 210 cask, and that's just, that's too many. With the preserves jars, with how everything is, as soon as I collect them and get my other ones, I already have room for more to put in, and I have no downtime. I would end up making just slightly more money if I wanted to do kegs over a longer period of time, but again, it's a lot more of a setup. And I didn't want to do that. The preserves work just fine, because the way the preserves work is you get 50 plus the base value of the fruit times 2. And the rarity doesn't matter, it's all done off the base. Whereas the kegs are times 3. And again, times 3 over approximately a 7-day period versus 50 plus times 2 over like a 2-day period. I like the preserves a lot more. It's a little bit less preparation for it. And so far, it's worked out. This is my first year to have all of these up. These trees here will actually be higher quality, because with the new patch, every year that a tree is up, they'll actually grow to a higher quality. But the preserves, it doesn't matter. It just goes off the base fruit. And also, if you're going to do kegs, and that'll work. But if you actually sleep more during the day than normal, for some reason, I don't know the exact calculations of it, but whenever you're asleep, time actually progresses faster for your crafting stuff. So if you sleep a little bit more than normal, you'll get less stuff done out in the game, but you will get more things done money-wise, because your things will actually produce a little faster. And as far as setting things up, I spent a lot of time kind of drawing things out and planning how I wanted this place to look, knowing that around this area, just kind of get some of the beehives up, get roads, get basically my defense post. With the new patch, lightning is voracious. You need a good amount of your lightning rods. The first year I had 6 up, and by noon, a lot of times, because I had like 5 storms, by noon, all 6 of the lightning rods are already covered, and my crops were getting nailed. So you're going to want a pretty good amount. It's pretty crazy how much more lightning striking now since that recent patch. Up here, got these trees. These were some of my first things I did. As soon as I kind of clear cut the whole farm, I went ahead and set these things up. They can make you some money, but they are used in crafting materials as well as recipes. So I would recommend, even if you're not wanting to focus on trees, trying to get some kind of little setup here to get your syrups and your oils. Because your kegs need them, and a few more of the crafting stations. I don't remember exactly which one. Yeah, beehive needs the maple, kegs need the oak resin. Pine tar is needed for something. There we go. Your loom, which you probably won't need a lot of those anyway. But it is stuff that you can have, and then once you've used enough of it, you can just sell them. Whenever you're preparing for your trees, you do want to set up a large enough area that you're going to be able to maneuver through it, as well as if you're wanting it to look nice, make sure that you kind of plan things out. The main way that I went through is I kind of examined the area by holding shift and moving around. These were my first trees because I wanted to have the 3-prong road here. See, between all these I have 2 tiles, but I wanted 3 between these to get the road up. This is where I actually started, so that way I could go right from the middle and then develop on one side. And then as you go, if you're wanting to make sure everything's symmetrical, as you're moving on from tree to tree, I recommend starting at either the top or the bottom and just move a shift, find your place, and then go up. Again, if symmetry is not important, that doesn't really matter. You can just plan them whenever. But moving around with the shift key and seeing where everything will actually kind of line up, it was quite helpful. Symmetry was a pretty important thing for me, so I had to make sure that I didn't space things out too much, and I just kept counting and didn't want to screw up because it was pretty important to me. As far as the rest of the farm goes, I knew that I was going to want to get some of the animal stuff up. But again, it all just comes to planning. You might just look at all your tiles once everything is filled out. And whenever you look at certain areas, just kind of count. And for here, I wanted this to be right in the middle. So whenever I made this little particular plot, kind of move along, count over, and see, alright, well, this is the direct center, so that means I can put that inside. I believe the chicken coop is 7 wide. A few days since I planted this, but that means that the very center tile of the place will actually be in the middle. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, yeah. So it's 6, and then whenever you look, you can see the four posts of the tree. Then it's a pretty easy guiding point. A big thing that I use to kind of test for making sure everything is symmetrical and where I want it to be is I just use my hardwood fences. I mean, for this, that right there, that's in the direct center. Whenever I knew that that's where I wanted to have that, just put down a fence post and just sort of use them like surveying markers. The same thing I did up here for making sure that all these would be in a symmetrical point. I just threw down fences as surveying markers, and then whenever I got around to actually getting the sprinklers, I just chopped up the wood. Hardwood, these are all hardwood. I didn't mess with any other type of fences. From my other farm, I learned that the other fences just are not worth the time. They break way too easily. So one of my biggest recommendations is getting your axe up as soon as possible so you can start farming that hardwood down in the secret forest. You can get 12 a day from it, and you're gonna need a lot. You need 150 for your house, and you need 100 for your horse stable. So with 250 for development, and then all these ones right here, like this is by far the best fence. I do not recommend messing with the other ones. And if you're wanting to not waste things, I do recommend not throwing up your fences too early. Here, I've got enough hardwood that I didn't really matter, so I went ahead and threw my fences up. But now that I'm developing my trees to the left, since the trees have to have the 3x3, oh come on Raptor, the 3x3 space around them has to be open. I can't have the fence up there, so whenever I start to develop to the left, I'm going to have to chop this wood up, which will end up being a loss of hardwood, which, again, at this point, doesn't matter. I've got my buildings done, but it is still a waste of hardwood. And the roads were a good guiding point. That was one of the first things that I started on, was just getting the road up, and that way I can kind of have my guide point and see where I want to actually develop everything. That if you don't make any type of pathways, then it'd probably be a little bit harder. But this is one of the easiest ways to plan ahead, is if you have your base road set up, and I'll throw the picture back up, you can see from the farm, we got everything going down. Those roads were, I mean, that was by the spring. I already had all that done, so as I walked around the farm, I was able to just kind of calculate, okay, this is where this is going to go, this is where, you know, this is where the animal stuff, this is where my workshop is going to be, and that made it a lot easier that as things started to develop, if I needed to make any changes, you know, stone is pretty easy to acquire, so it didn't really matter. Also, I don't have the mod turned on right now, since I was using the thing that'll let me see the entire farm. But there is a mod that gives you box labels, and you can just hover over things and see what your boxes are. Super helpful. I really appreciate that mod, and it made things a lot easier. Organization wasn't a problem at all. So I'd recommend looking that mod up on Nexus Mods. It's a quick install. And I think this is all for this one, so we can move over to kind of some decoration stuff real quick. And one last thing that I almost forgot about trees. I had to delay this video for about 15 days in game time because I'm an idiot and I wasn't really paying attention. This particular tree, I wasn't really watching it, and there was a bush right behind it. And I noticed, you know, you're not growing. All the other ones, it just went up 2 stages, and I don't know why I didn't catch it. And I walked over here and just swung my sword, and there was a bush behind it. That delayed its growth by 15 days. And I haven't even, I gotta get my pathway up in front of it because I haven't, like, this is the first day since it finished. I was so tired last night. So when you're growing your trees, again, a good idea to make them in a line, but also check them. If you actually look, you can see bushes if they're behind them, but just every day, check and make sure that nothing happened and nothing fell behind them. If someone was saying you can put pathways by them and it won't delay their growth, I didn't want to risk that. So I can't confirm that if that's true or not, but even if you have a pathway up, I mean, sometimes wood and stuff will break through your pathways, but just be careful. It really, really pissed me off last night on stream because I had to wait 15 days in game just for one tree so everything would look correct. And you can see my house. I haven't really started working on the house too much yet. I've mainly been worried about the outside. Most of these things, the chairs, the bookcase, those are from the Traveling Merchant. Traveling Merchant is a very important NPC to check on Sundays and Fridays. A lot of the neat things are just, they're sold there and it's random when you get them. Like, I really like this bookcase and then some of these chairs, even though they don't match. If I can get a fourth chair and just have a neat little assortment of them. The flat screen TV, it's about 4K. Nice touch. These things right here are from the Artifact Center. As more of those you get turned in, the more of them you'll get. This is the arcade for beating Prairie King. A lot of fun. I've actually spent a lot of time playing that mini game. And on this farm, I haven't done Jumino Kart. That game throws me into a damn rage fit. But a lot of stuff you can do inside the house. The next thing, I'm probably going to add crystal floors in here. But I just haven't really had time to mess with the interior yet. But if you don't know about the Traveling Merchant, she's just right down here, and she's going to be there on Sundays and Fridays. Her inventory is going to always be random. She'll have the rare seed for the fall until you buy it for the year, and it's something that you want to purchase before the fall, so you can get that up and be able to get your energy boost. But she's just right here, and I would recommend every Sunday and Friday make it a priority to check her. And here she has a table. That's the only way to really get this. So if you're looking for cosmetic stuff, particularly for your house, you're going to want to go inside or come out here and check it. And here at the Carpenter Shop, just here in the shop, you have all kinds of stuff. Some people didn't really realize that there's a lot more to the shop than just, buying some basic stuff. But your windows, that's a lot of cosmetic stuff that you can change. Couch, which I actually need. I don't know why I haven't bought one of those yet. Just bothers me. But you also have a lot of paths here. I've bought a couple. I didn't buy a lot yet. I'm gonna want to show it in the inventory whenever I make the video. But all this stuff are things that you can add to your farm, and just as soon as you buy the recipe, it's added to your crafting list. These lamps are pretty neat. They do need a battery pack, but they provide a good amount of light, and they look pretty cool too. Like if you want to line up all your pathways with little light posts and kind of make sort of a flow of direction for all your paths, it makes that the easiest to do it if you get these. The straw floor is a really neat cosmetic thing. You can add it in front of your animal places, and it looks kind of neat. Just makes it kind of look like they have a place to lounge around that's not just right inside of grass. And that crystal floor, that is sold at Krobus. Krobus you gain access to with the sewers once you obtain 60 artifacts in the museum. Once you get those 60 artifacts, in a couple of days, Gunther will show up at the house, and he'll praise you for helping him out so much, and he'll also give you the key. Krobus, check his inventory daily. He has some things that are pretty helpful, particularly Fridays. You can get an Iridium Sprinkler for him for 10k. Otherwise, he just has some monster loot, slimes, and these bat wings. He also sells a star drop, so that's 20k. But you can also buy 10 of these a day, so if you're wanting to get a lot of bombs, and they can also be used as gifts, I recommend stocking up on these things. But he'll also have recipes. I was stupid, and even though I knew, like, the Carpenter, I wanted to wait, but I didn't. But he has crystal floors and a few other things that he has in his inventory. And just like with the Carpenter, you buy them, and they're in your crafting list forever. And something I almost forgot, is a lot of people had sent me a message about this. You can turn the direction of most of your furniture. While you have it selected, just hit X. And you can turn things around the way that you want it. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry for the delayed Stardew stuff. Again, tomorrow I'm going to be leaving for Utah for a Twitch charity event, RPG Limit Break. I'm going to be gone all week. I've been super busy, but I'm rushing this video out because I know I've been needing to get one up. But next Friday I'm going to have a Tree of Savior video up, and I hope that right whenever I get back from Limit Break, I'm going to be able to get up another video about this. I have some ideas of some things that I do want to do, especially with the mine. That was a pretty big hit, and kind of give you guys something that, you know, a lot of you came here for. But once again, thank you, and be sure to comment, subscribe, all the good stuff here. Check out my Twitch channel and my Twitter. I'd really appreciate it. And be sure to tune into RPG Limit Break next week. I will throw a link up for that, all of my other places, Nexus mods, because I know I'm going to get a ton of questions about the Raptor. And I'll try to throw up any other links that I can think of that are relevant from other videos to try to cover all my bases on that. But if you have any questions, let me know, and any suggestions, you know, get some good discussions going on. Some of the other videos, I liked it, some people helping out each other. But you all have a wonderful day, and I will catch you guys when I get back from Utah.